If you're not sure with your answers or the answers you are filling in for these blanks, then definitely you can recheck, you can reuse some of the words until and unless you are not satisfied with the answers you are going to use in. For these blanks, don't answer them. If the sentence is positive, then the question tag will be in negative. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome back to Vidhyaashram, the Temple of Excellence. I am Nanda Kishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, Mysuru. In my previous session, I had discussed about question forms session 1. But in today's session, in 2, I am going to discuss many examples with the same topic. Let us start with today's session 2. So as we know, in my previous session, in session 1, I had discussed about how to use or how to frame the questions for the underlined words and WH questions. With the continuation of the same topic, we will be discussing many examples and more examples in today's session. WH questions with the help of the statements. What does it mean? Complete the WH questions with the help of the statements given below. 1 is done for you. Complete the WH questions with the help of the statements given below. 1 is done for you. Example, why do you want to learn English? I want to learn English to go abroad. Now, here it is not about underlining or framing the questions to the underlined words. It is about using the right word, whether it is WH or the other auxiliary verbs in this exercise. So, which is the first exercise here? When dash Vidya complete her homework? The answer is given here. Vidya completed her homework yesterday. Now, there is a blank and we need to use appropriate word. It could be auxiliary word or WH word. When did Vidya complete her homework? Vidya completed her homework yesterday. So this is the right format. Use the suitable verb or WH word for this statement. After finding the suitable word, read the statement. If the question is correct, if the words you have used fit into the blank, according to this question, the answer should be proper, should be appropriate. Only then this answer is correct. So we are going to find many words like these. Dash do the birds live? Now you know that when is already given and the statement says that WH questions with the help of the statements. But here it is not just about WH words or the questions or the statements. It is also about auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs we are going to fit into the blanks here. Dash do the birds live? The birds live in the nest. So you get to know that where do they live? The right word, the appropriate word for this blank would be where do the birds live? The birds live in the nest. Next one, where dash Harish worked with his father? There is a blank and the answer is given below. Harish has worked with his father in the field. Remember, we have to find a suitable word here. Harish has worked with his father in the field. Where has Harish worked with his father? Where has Harish worked with his father? You can just identify these auxiliary verbs and fit in the same auxiliary verbs to the blanks at times. But most of the times you may not be able to identify the auxiliary verbs or you may find it difficult to fit in whether WH or the auxiliary verbs. Next one, why dash they come to school together? They will come to school together to attend the annual day function. Why do they come to school together? No, because auxiliary verb is will. So we are going to use the same auxiliary verb here. Why will they come to school together? They will come to school together to attend the annual day function. Next one, dash were honored by the Teachers Association. 5 top scorers were honored by the Teachers Association. Here, who were honored? WH, as I told you, who were honored? 5 top scorers were honored by the Teachers Association. Next one, who dash 2 farms and 30 slaves? Anthony owned 2 farms and 30 slaves. So which is the right answer here? WH is already given here. So we have to find auxiliary verb. Who owned? Who owned 2 farms and 30 slaves? Anthony owned. Owning is the main verb, either the main verb, the WH question, or the auxiliary verb at times. Dash did the wind rock Mara's hut. So which is the right answer? Which word will fit into this blank? At midnight, the wind rocked Mara's hut. At midnight, the wind rocked Mara's hut. When did the wind rock Mara's hut? At midnight, the wind rocked Mara's hut. 8th one. Dash was the restaurant keeper asking him. The restaurant keeper was asking him to take off his shirt. What was the restaurant keeper asking him? The restaurant keeper was asking him to take off his shirt. What was the restaurant keeper asking him? The restaurant keeper was asking him to take off his shirt. If you're not sure with your answers or the answers you are filling in for these blanks, then definitely you can recheck, you can reuse some of the words until and unless you are not satisfied with the answers you are going to use in. For these blanks, don't answer them. Kindly make sure that you are completely satisfied, you are 100% satisfied with the options that will fit into the blanks. Only then go on answering them. Next one, question tag. If you don't know what is question tag, it is very simple. But if you cannot identify the auxiliary verb, I keep telling auxiliary verb, helping verb. In this question forms, auxiliary verbs or helping verbs or the words are very important. Supply suitable tag. Tag is nothing but question tag. Suitable tag to the following statements. One is done for you. This is an example. Observe the 2 sentences here. I'm going to write on the board. Here in your workbook, there is only 1 sentence. I'm going to make use of 2 more sentences, and I will be teaching you how the sentences or the question tag will be added in the sentences. I am her child. First thing, as I tell you, identify the auxiliary verbs. I am her child. Here, this is the answer. This is the question tag. How is the question tag framed? Question tag will be framed based on the auxiliary verbs used or the helping verbs used. Here, sir, I can see am here, and how come it is changing to aren't? If you see in your textbook or in your workbook, at the end of the workbook, after this question tag exercise, they have given it in a block asking you that observe it, or did you know am will change to aren't I or are I, am I. Am I? If it is negative, let me just clarify it. If the sentence is positive, this is the first principle. Remember this, we'll come back to this. Am changing to aren't. But before that, this is the first principle. If the sentence is positive, then the question tag will be in negative. This is the first principle. If the sentence is negative, then the question tag changes to positive. This is the simple rule. Follow it. Now, coming back to this, am changing to are. It is a rule. Am will change to aren't I. So, according to this rule, the sentence is positive. I am her child. Aren't I? By heart it, store it in your head. This is am. If the sentence is in positive, it is aren't I. Aren't I is the answer. I am a child changes to aren't I. What if the sentence is in negative? I am not her child. So add the suitable question tag. How will you add the question tag here? You know that am changes to are in positive. If the sentence is negative, will it be changing to the same thing RI? No. I am not her child becomes am I. This remains the same. Am I? Aren't I? Question mark is very important. Am I or aren't I? So let us start with the exercise. Keeping that in mind, we will go on explaining according to the sentences given here. Mother was everything for us. First rule, if the sentence is positive, then the question tag will be negative. Second rule, if the sentence is negative, then the question tag will be positive. Third rule, am I changes to aren't I. Am I not changes to am I. Now, next rule, we have to identify, the basic rule, we have to identify the auxiliary verb. Based on the auxiliary verb or the helping verb, we will add the question tag here. Mother was everything for us, wasn't she? Wasn't she? Question mark, very important. Mother was not everything for us, was she? That's how it changes. We are our children. We are is auxiliary verb. We are our children, positive. The sentence or the statement is in positive, so we are going to change it into negative. It is not negative as such, but it looks negative in the appearance. Aren't I? Aren't we? Sorry. We are. Depending on the subject, we have to use the same subject here. Aren't we? Aren't we? She made her lap our bed. Now, there are no auxiliary verbs anywhere. There are not even a single nor more auxiliary verbs. So how do you add the question tag? How do you make or how do you frame the question tag here? She made her lap our bed. Made, did she? She made her lap our bed. So the sentence is positive. The question tag will be negative. Didn't she? Didn't she? She did not make her lap our bed, then did she? She helped us to walk. She helped us to walk. It is positive. So it is didn't she? Again, didn't she? She never grumbled. Observe this sentence. She never grumbled. Did she? Never is not. She did not grumble. So the question tag will be did she? If the sentence is she grumbled, let us strike it off. Assume she grumbled. So what will be the question tag here? She grumbled is positive. Question tag should be negative. Didn't she? According to this statement, of course, this is negative. So the question tag is positive. She grumbled. If the sentence is positive, then the question tag should be negative. Didn't she? Observe this. She made her lap our bed, positive. She helped us to walk, positive. She never grumbled is negative. She never grumbled. She did not. Negative. So the question tag should be positive. Next one. Our hunger had led her to skip her meals. Check. Our hunger had led, first thing, had auxiliary verb is there. Observe if the sentence is negative or positive. Our hunger had led her to skip her meals. It is sort of a positive. So the question tag should be hadn't. This is coming to the point. Now, if you go to previous sentences, we know that mother is a subject, we is she. These are subjects, pronoun. Next sentence, our hunger. Where is the subject here? So if there is no subject or no pronoun as such, either male or female, we use it, hadn't, it. Neuter gender, it, the subject. Seventh one, she will never curse her children. She will never. It is negative. So the question tag will be positive. Will she? Observing the sentence, if it is in positive or negative, is very important. Once you observe the sentence, try to find the auxiliary verb. Choose the positive auxiliary verb or change the auxiliary verb into positive if the sentence is negative. If the sentence is positive, then it is negative. Eighth one. They don't have any love for their old mother. Now, don't is already given there. Do and don't. The auxiliary verb have seems the main verb, or even at times it is auxiliary verb. But since don't is already given, we can use the same word as the auxiliary verb. They don't have any love for their old mother becomes do they. Do they have any love for their old mother? They don't have any love for their old mother. Ninth one, they can seldom feel for their mother. They can is auxiliary verb. They can seldom feel for their mother. They can feel seldom. So seldom is rarely. So can they? We should love and respect our mothers. We should. It is positive. So we are going to use negative question tag. Shouldn't we? Since the subject is we, shouldn't we? We should love and respect our mothers. So be careful while using the question tags and follow the rules that I have been discussing in today's session. Next one, we have something called match the following. Column A with column B. Column A, they have given the statements, and in column B, they have given the question tag. So we are going to match column A with the statement with column B with question tag. Let's start solving match the following. The members had heard sufficient evidence. The members had heard, so it is positive. They had heard. Find out any of the question tag which is with had, which should be negative. Hadn't they? Let me just draw a line here. Hadn't they? Or we can even number them. Hadn't they? Second one, the goddess stood before me. Stood before me, positive. So there are no auxiliary verbs here. There is no auxiliary verbs. Find out if there is any of it which suits with this. The goddess is singular. So it should be do. Does he? No, not possible. Do I know? Don't we know? Didn't she? So it is didn't she. The second one is didn't she. I do not know what to do. I do not know what to do. Do not know. So the question tag should be positive since the question is negative. I do not know. Do I? I do not know. Do I is the third one. Next one. I will be very angry if you miss another worship. I will be very angry. It is positive, sort of affirmative. So it should be won't I. Fourth one is won't I. Next one, we create our own tradition. We create, it is in positive, so the statement should be negative. We create, so we is, observe, there is no auxiliary verb. So which do form do we use? We create. Should we use don't we? Yes, it is don't we. Don't we create our own tradition? Sixth one, I have given a suggestion. I have given, it is positive. I have. Haven't I should be the answer. It is here. Seventh one is the answer. Haven't I. The narrator doesn't know anything. It is negative. So the answer should be positive. Does he is the answer. Seventh one. Does. No, the eighth one here. The narrator doesn't know the answer. It should be sixth. Sorry. Haven't I is sixth. And this is seventh. Verona is a lovely city. Verona is a lovely city. It is positive. So the answer should be negative. Isn't it? Verona is a lovely city. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Romeo and Juliet are reputed to have lived in Verona. Romeo and Juliet are reputed to live in Verona, aren't they? Ninth one. So last one, we couldn't think of troubling you. Could we? So the 10th, so we have matched everything here. It's pretty easy. If the statement or the sentence is positive, then the question tag will be negative. If the statements are negative, then the question tag will be positive. So positive to negative and negative to positive. Keep this in mind. Keeping these rules in your mind, you can solve any of the questions with respect to question forms especially. Now, as I told you in the beginning, there is something called did you know? There is a block at the end of the page of question forms concept. If you can just go to that page and observe, this is what is given at the end of the page. The question tag for I am is aren't I, as I told you. But for I am not is am I. I have already taught you in the beginning of the question tag concept. I am, which is positive. The negative is aren't I. If the statement is negative, then the positive question tag would be am I. Keep this in rule. It is a must only with am I and I am. So how it's going to change? I am to aren't I and I am not to am I. I'm sure that I have given you plenty of examples with this, and I'm sure that you can solve more number of questions taking from internet or just depending on any other source. It could be even the Wren and Martin grammar book. These kind of questions could be easily solved, but you need more practice. Keep that in mind. That's it for today's session. I'm going to meet you with next session. In my next session, I'm going to discuss about reference skills, and next we'll be discussing about data interpretation. That's it for today's session. Take up many examples, solve them, keep practicing. We'll meet you in the next session. Until then, have a good day. Take care.